Hi everyone, Vegas Film Critic here, Jeffrey K. Howard, here to give you my top 10 films of 2016. It's that time of year again. We've had so many movies this year, so many good movies this year. I'm actually going to do 15, but I'm going to do my special mentions, but then I'll do a top 10 list because, there's just too many to choose from. I went over and over and over this list, taking ones off and putting them on, and it's just, there are so many good movies this year. So this was really a difficult choice. And of course, as all critics do, they're saying these are my personal choices. Your opinion may be different, and definitely it's art. So you're going to see something different than I am. But these are my favorite films. So I'm going to cheat because I have my little list over here. I want to start with my special mentions. Coming in at one of my special mentions is Utopia. And, this was a movie I went into just kicking and screaming because I didn't want to see little rabbits who are playing, police officers and just see, it just looked really juvenile. It's just something I did not want to see at all. And it turned out not only be one of the best movies of the year, but one of the best animated films and a complex, entertaining story that teaches children, teaches adults, everything. It was funny, it was progressive. Zootopia was so much fun, so I had to put that in there. I'm trying to read here with my glasses off. Of course, Deadpool. Got to mention Deadpool. Total surprise, showing that, Marvel could do an R-rated film and people would go to it. It doesn't have to be family friendly. It could be disgusting. It could be violent. It could be all of those things. And Ryan Reynolds stuck with it. And that demo that he did with the fight on the bridge in the car that went viral, to prove he shot that just so the studio would give him the money. Awesome idea. Deadpool's fantastic. And now it made Wolverine that's coming out, rated R. So that's going to be really cool. So Deadpool, loved it. Had to put that in there. Swiss Army Man. This movie really made me angry. Throughout the whole film, I'm sitting there going, what the hell is going on? You have Paul Dano and Daniel Radcliffe as a dead body washes up on shore and they're best friends and they end up teaching each other, the meaning of life. I'm sitting there, what the hell is going on with this movie? But this is a movie that stuck with me and I've seen it 2 or 3 times since. I have it over there. And it's just, we see so many movies that they're beginning, middle, and end, and they're just like they're spoon-fed to us. When something different, original, and innovative comes along, we just have these defense mechanisms. And Swiss Army Man did that with me. But it's absolutely just the craziest creative movie, and I encourage you to see it. If you haven't seen it, seatbelts. By the way, you like my new shirt? Just came in the mail. Awesome. I got all these new shirts for 2017. They're really cool. All right, another special mention, American Honey. Like Swiss Army Man, here's a movie that I went into just trying to figure out what the hell was going on. And if you ever had those teenagers that show up at your door in a van or wandering your neighborhood trying to sell magazine subscriptions, that's the basis of this movie. And all the stars of this movie, with the exception of Shia LaBeouf, of course, who's a big star, they're all unknowns. The director, writer, went out and she found these beach kids. And so when you're watching this movie, a lot of this movie is improv. A lot of this movie is just a notion, an idea, and just go with it. Except, Shia kind of bookends it and tries to, give some sort of structure. So American Honey is just this really free-spirited, kind of hippie, kind of free-thinking kind of movie that, again, like Swiss Army Man, just sticks with you and you just can't stop thinking about it. So American Honey was pretty cool. And finally, for my special mentions, I wanted to put this in my top 10. It almost made it, but it's so brilliant, and that's Kubo and the Two Strings. Absolutely brilliant story, funny performances. The animation is just out of this world. I saw it in that new Dolby. Where's the poster right here? I still have it over here from a few months ago. I still have the poster from that Dolby, what's it called? It's on the back here. I'm blocking the mic. Total Cinema Experience with Dolby Cinema by AMC. It was so cool. Look, I took a couple posters. You want one? Yeah? Send me a letter. Send me an email and I will send you one, but I'm keeping the other. Those are my special mentions. Now let's get to the top 10. Coming in number 10, Jeremy Saulnier. I don't know if I say his name. It's Saulnier. Did you see Blue Ruin? One of the most amazing films in the past decade. I think I've seen that movie about 15, 20 times. Here is Green Room, about a local punk band who's in this Oregon roadhouse who witnessed a murder, and it just happens to be a nest of white Aryans, the Nazi weirdos. So they witness a murder, and their leader isn't going to let them leave. Played by, of course, Patrick Stewart, Professor X, Captain Picard himself, and also Anton Yelchin. This is one of his last films. Just a powerful, just visceral movie that just is, you're on the edge of your seat the entire time. So Green Room was phenomenal. Saw it earlier this year, and I didn't forget it. Coming at number 9, Captain Fantastic. Viggo Mortensen plays this father, another hippie-inspired movie. This was a great year for hippie movies. Viggo Mortensen and his family living on a bus, traveling to his wife's funeral, and about how he keeps his kids sheltered, living in the woods. But it's not a bad thing, or is it? That's the movie. It questions that. Is the movie, putting these children in danger by keeping them out of society, somewhere in the woods being homeschooled and learning survival techniques and being indoctrinated by his father and his way of thinking, his way of life. And when the children venture out for a funeral into the real world, all kinds of clashes happen. So I didn't forget this movie either. I think it's one of the funniest movies. It is a comedy, but it's also a serious drama too. It's got just a brilliant mixture of both in it. I didn't forget it. It's such a great film. Captain Fantastic. Did you see it? You should. Okay, Captain Fantastic. What's next? Coming at number 8 is Patriots Day, directed by Peter Berg, starring Mark Wahlberg, about the Boston bombing. Boston Strong, a play-by-play, how the FBI, how local law enforcement, how first responders, everybody came together, how they found these 2 terrorists, these homegrown terrorists, and it was just a play-by-play using real footage and recreation. It's just a powerful film. I just thought it was just kept me on the edge of my seat, and also just a salute to all of our heroes and all the victims that day. Boston Strong. Patriots Day comes in at number 8. Number 7, another action movie directed by Mel Gibson, starring Andrew Garfield as a real-life hero, World War II hero in the Battle of Okinawa, Hacksaw Ridge, about a character, a real-life man who was a conscientious objector, who would not pick up a gun during basic training. He fought it all the way, and he went through basic training in World War II, went to Okinawa, one of the bloodiest battles of the war, especially in the Pacific, and he saved over 75 men, luring them down a ridge under battle, under gunfire. Amazing, ridiculous situations. Just a powerful film. Mel Gibson, one of our best filmmakers. Andrew Garfield delivers an incredible performance. Vince Vaughn as a sergeant like you've never seen him before. Hacksaw Ridge was just powerful, unforgettable experience. Coming at number 6, we have more education in terms of civil rights and our history here in the United States of the 20th century. And I'm talking about Hidden Figures, about the 3 women, or at least all the women, all the African-American women who helped us put the man on the moon and progressed our space program in combating with the Russians. We're fighting them again today, I think. And it starts Octavia Spencer and Charlie Henson. They were math specialists, but of course, because of segregation, even in NASA, it's just amazing where, as history goes along, we find these stories that who would have thought there would be segregation in NASA? And not only there was segregation, there was like use your own white only coffee pots. There were bathrooms only for colored. They colored, and it's just so you sit there thinking, because usually educated, smart people, if you're in math and a scientist, you overlook that kind of bigotry. History always shows that. But NASA, it was running rampant. So it was these women that broke those barriers, that put man on the moon, that put the space program on the map. You're going to be cheering. You're going to be standing up cheering like I did, and just wonderful performances. Everyone should see this movie. I loved it. It's one of my favorite. Hidden Figures. Coming at number 5, a movie that I had no idea really what it was about. I went in, and it's not a children's film. It's not a family film. It is a serious drama. It's called A Monster Calls. And Louis McDougall, I think I'm going off I saw this movie like a month ago. It's a boy who's dealing with all of these growing pain issues. His mother has cancer, and he's living with his grandmother now. He's rebelling. He's not doing well in school. He's got all these problems on his shoulders. And for him to escape, this tree monster, voiced by Liam Neeson, shows up and helps him to get through all these different situations. The movie is so heavy. It's so dramatic. And I'm telling you, when I say bring a box of Kleenex, I think you should bring 2. We were bawling in the theater. I was sobbing, not only through the whole movie, but towards the end, I could not stop crying. I was crying in the car on the way home. Monster Calls is just an amazing allegory about a little boy and dealing with life issues. And this kid, Louis McDougall, he was also in The Impossible. Remember the flood movie in the South Pacific or wherever the hell it was? He's just delivers one of the best performances of the year. If the Academy doesn't recognize him, shame on you. A Monster Calls. Don't miss it. Number 4 comes a drama that I heard either you hate it or you love it, and I saw it and I absolutely loved it. Manchester by the Sea, about a man played by Casey Affleck who returns home because his brother died, and he found out now he's the guardian of his 14-year-old son, who's going through growing pains, who doesn't want to leave Manchester. And his character didn't want to come back to Manchester because of an altercation or an incident that happened earlier in his life. So he's trying to escape Manchester and everything about it. Incredible performances. When you think about the story, it's really nothing unique. It's all about the performances. It really is. That just comes alive in this movie. And Casey Affleck is phenomenal with his poor brother, with Ben, Live by Night, not doing any well. And he's had the spotlight for a while. Casey is now going to have the spotlight with Manchester by the Sea. And I was thrilled to death at this year's Critics' Choice Awards to meet and speak with writer-director Kenneth Lonergan, who did Manchester by the Sea. And I just had to gush. And he was just the sweetest guy. So Manchester by the Sea comes in at number 4. Number 3, I'm a Western fanatic, and this is a modern Western. It's called Hell or High Water. Jeff Bridges, Ben Foster, and Chris Pine, two brothers who are robbing banks all over Texas, and Jeff Bridges as the sheriff who's going to bring them down. It's just such a fun Western. It really is. Well, I shouldn't say fun. It's thrilling, exciting, it's dramatic. Texas is such a great backdrop for any kind of Western like this. And Jeff Bridges, of course, met him at the Critics' Choice Awards this year. I had to go up and talk to the dude and just tell him how much I admired him in this role. And he just steals the whole movie. All three just killer performances. If you haven't seen Hell or High Water, it's on DVD now. That comes in at number 3. All right, number 2, Tom Ford, a man who came from the fashion industry, wrote and directed Nocturnal Animals, which is a modern neo-noir that's just, it's a movie within a movie. You know, she's reading a book that her ex-husband wrote, and it's about this family being terrorized, and it's about, you know, trying to get back at his wife. And it's so complex. It really is. It's really a web of deceit, of lies, of thrills. I mean, if Hitchcock were alive, he would love this movie. And not only the performances by Amy Adams and by Jake Gyllenhaal, who you've never seen him before like this. He's a coward. You just wanted to scream because he can't help his family. He won't do anything. And the great Michael Shannon. The great Michael Shannon. I should have put Elvis and Nixon on this list. I didn't have room, but I love that film. I love Michael Shannon. He plays the sheriff, you know, rivals Jeff Bridges in supporting actor. I'll tell you, those two are just going head to head. Michael Shannon is one of my favorite actors right now. And he was in Midnight Special, another movie I couldn't put on here just because of his performance. And he was in the Critics' Choice Awards, and I couldn't get to him in time. People tell me he's really weird, but you know what? I love weird. What am I, Albert Brooks? I don't know what that means. Anyway, what am I talking about? Nocturnal Animals. Loved it. One of my favorite films of the year. Have you seen it? All right, I know what you're thinking. Number 1, here we are. God, I'm going 13 minutes into this. Number 1, I knew this movie was going to be my favorite movie of the year the moment I saw it. I've seen it 2 or 3 times since. We're talking Moonlight. From Barry Jenkins, about a coming-of-age film like you've never seen before. I got his name wrong. Chiron. That's what it is. Chiron. People were emailing me. I got the name wrong, and they really lambasted me. I should have looked that up. It's Chiron. I got it. I got it this time. Coming-of-age film about a boy in the drug-ridden 90s, growing up in Miami. We see him at 3 different ages. We see him at 10 years old, 16 years old, and mid-20s, and about him and his growing pains, growing up in that, dealing with his sexuality, being gay, also dealing with drug dealers, his mother being an addict, and also Mahershala Ali, I'm gonna get his name right, Mahershala Ali, just an amazing performance. It's just, this movie is just, you'll never forget it. You really won't. And I love telling people about Moonlight. If you have delicate sensibilities, if the subject matter doesn't interest you, or you might have delicate sensibilities when it comes to that, I don't know. But I think you can overlook that because you see these performances by these 3 actors. Also Barry Jenkins, just his poetic direction and the lighting and the music. Moonlight is just a phenomenal film. It will stick with you. You will think about it long after the movie's over. That was my favorite film of 2016. All right, there you have my top 15, top 10 for 2016. I know you're probably screaming at me. Let me know what your favorite movies are. List them below. Also, you can check out more of my reviews and interviews and my website at vegasfilmcritic.com, my portal to my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram, my Snapchat, which I don't use too much. I'm going to try to. Also, I'm going to do my top worst movies of 2016. There are a lot of them. There are a lot of them. And you know what? There are 2 on that list that you're going to totally disagree with me, and I'm going to get all kinds of hell for it. But thank you so much for joining me this year. It's been a great year. Come out and see us in Las Vegas. We'd love to see you. And if you ever come to Vegas, hey, look me up. I don't mind having a little drink with you. I don't drink. We'll do coffee. I don't drink coffee either. Hot chocolate? Yeah, I love iced tea. Am I just babbling now? I'm Jeffrey K. Howard. Thank you so much for joining me this year. I appreciate everything. I'll see you next time in 2017.